are live. Welcome again to another session of the Create Your New Life real estate sessions or trainings or business meetings, whatever you want to call them. But we come together every week and we talk real estate, we talk business, and we talk about, those things that'll help put you in a position to be successful. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for joining. Thank those individuals that are not Brooks and Davis agents that check us out, that look at us on YouTube or click on the link a little later and see what we're all about. So definitely want to thank them for joining. We're always looking to bring on talented individuals to be a part of our organization where we can assist in your development, you making more money in this real estate business. Our co-founder, Larry W. Brooks, is always looking to sit down and see those people that are looking to be successful. So again, definitely want to say welcome. At any point, you guys can stop me and engage, ask questions. These trainings, these sessions are not just meant for me to be talking. Now, I clearly have my agenda. I have everything that I'm going to talk about. But I feel like, the best sessions that we've had is when agents are engaging, asking questions, and handling it from that perspective. So at any moment, you guys can do that. So I named it, Did I Do What I Tell You to Do at this conference? A lot of you all know that Mr. Brooks and myself attended the Black Enterprise 2017 Entrepreneurship Summit that they had at the Marriott Marquis this past week. And what I'm going to do today is I did a Create Your New Life session around return on investment from conferences. And I'm just going to do a little grade on myself to see if I actually did at this past conference what I talked to you and told you all about doing to make sure that you got a return on investment from your time and from the money that you spent in attending conferences. Did I follow my own advice? So we're going to look at that today. I'm a little nervous because I assure you that I didn't pre-look at it, right? I didn't, before we get on this session, I didn't go and look to see if I followed the instructions. I just pulled the slide today on the items that I told you all about some time ago. So I don't know what kind of grade I'm going to get as far as giving you all advice. I feel pretty confident that I followed, my own recommendations, but we'll see. We'll see if I did it. So that's why I named it. That's why I titled it that today. The quote, this quote where it says, it's not a guarantee that, you have to earn people's attention. It's not a guarantee that you're going to get it. Was actually a quote that I got from last week at the Black Enterprise Conference. So one of the presenters, Ramon Ray, and this was a quote that he said, and I thought it was a strong quote. And in essence, he's saying that you can't take for granted people paying attention to you, right? Those friends that you have on Facebook, those connections you have on LinkedIn, the people that are subscribed to your YouTube channels, in essence, the people that are paying attention to you, you can't take that for granted, because just because you do a Facebook business page or just because you create you a YouTube channel doesn't guarantee that people are going to pay attention to you. If you don't have the right content, if you're not being intentional about offering people valuable information, then people aren't going to pay attention to you because it's too much out there that can command our attention. So don't take for granted that these things are just going to take place just because you decided to do a Facebook business page or a YouTube channel or a LinkedIn profile. If you haven't taken the time to have it look a certain way and focus on the content that you're going to put, it's not a guarantee that you're going to earn. So that term earn, meaning that you have to work for people's attention. You have to put some effort and some thought, some creativity and some innovation into capturing people's attention and them liking you and subscribing to you and sharing your information. It just doesn't, and coming and looking week after week, day after day, or however often you post content. So I thought it was a fire quote, and I just wanted to reiterate that here today. So let's go. Let's go ahead and start off with like what we always do, and see what kind of business the organization is doing, right? Because if you ain't doing business, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right. So as of today, $4.9 million worth of production. So we're up today. We're up from the last time that we met, almost $5 million, getting close to that $5 million mark. I like that mark. I like us being around that mark. So we're only about $70,000 away from getting there. And I know we can, well, really $50,000 away. So we can get over that $5 million mark. I like that mark. So again, that production board, pending board, these are people that have gotten deals under contract. I know we've worked extremely hard, our agents, and I've seen it. Like literally, I had Julian update the board and he added 8 contracts to the board. So I know people are out there working, they're getting stuff under contract, and I'd absolutely want to applaud those agents that are contributing and adding to the pending board. They're putting themselves in a position to get a check at some point here in the near future. So I applaud that. I want to encourage those that have not sent in contracts lately. Go ahead and get on board. You can do it. We're going to talk about that in our new 60-day cycle. There is major opportunity in this business. The market is picking up. The market is actually on fire. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it move fast. I'm seeing all kind of opportunity presenting itself right here, May 25th. So if that's not the same, if you're not able to say the same thing when it comes to your business, there's something that you're not doing right, because the market is moving in a major upswing right now, and you have to be in a position and leverage to be feeling and seeing that. And if you're not, that means that there are activities that you're not doing, that you haven't been doing on a consistent basis, and that you're currently not doing on a consistent basis, to where you're able to see what I'm seeing, feel what I'm feeling when it comes to as me gauging the temperature of where the market is. So I extremely, extremely, extremely implore you, I impeach you, I beseech you, brethren, please look at these Create Your New Life trainings. When it comes to lead generation and structure and business, get me on the phone. Do what you need to do, because the opportunity is here. It is definitely here. Okay, so the next thing, our top 5 agents. We've had some movement. We've had a little bit of movement in our top 5 agents. So LaQuanna's still holding tight. It's my favorite agent. Favorite agent in the whole wide world, will always be my favorite agent. She's holding the #1 spot. Don Green's still #2, but we've had some movement. Patrick Schenkel, I don't think we've ever seen Patrick Schenkel in the top 5, but he's in the top 5 now. I tell you all the time, it's about the top 5 producing agents. What you closed on doesn't matter. If you don't have anything under contract, hey, it doesn't matter. You can go from #1 to off the list, right? So Patrick Schenkel went from not on the list to #3, right? And then we now see a new face, a face we hadn't seen in a long time. It's Kim Stubblefield. Kim held it for a long time. She held that #1 spot for a very long time. And then she's one of those ones that, one day she looked up and she wasn't on the list no more. But she's back on the list and she's moving her way up. So it's glad to see Kim to be back. And we definitely have Ms. Margaret Harrison, which is on the list. And again, I love to point this out. I love to point this out. Of the 5 top producing agents for Brooks and Davis right now, 3 of the 5 are ADI agents, meaning they are agents that are part of the Agent Development Institute, to where we're coaching, mentoring them, getting them to structure their business a particular way and move in production. Career agents, ADI, that's something that I'm proud of, that I have that many. Ideally, I want to get off at some point my top 5 producing agents, all 5 of them consistently being agents that are taking advantage of the ADI program or ADI that we have here at Brooks and Davis. One of the things that we have to offer. Okay, so we talked about agent, top producing. We don't have any now. We've met. Mr. Brooks has met with a number of new agents here over the last week or so, since we've last had a session. So I really do see a couple of new agents faces that are coming in, getting involved with us. He actually met a couple people today. One young lady says she's ready to go, so she's gonna come in next Tuesday and sign her paperwork. So again, we're still pushing to get to double our agent count before the end of the year. We closed out last year roughly at around 43, right? So for us to double, we got to get around 86. I want to go to 90. I want to get to 90 because I know if we get to 90, we covered. And see, the thing about it is when it comes to agent count, it's always changing because you bring on people, and then you have some people. You may bring on 2 agents, you may lose 1. You bring on 1 agent, you may lose 2. So every now and again, it moves. At Brooks and Davis, we typically hover between 40 and 45. So that's kind of like our average rolling number. Well, I want to double that, and I want to get to the point to where we're averaging between 80 and 90 agents, right? So that's where I want us to get. That's where I'm pushing us to get to where we can double our agent count here by the end of the year, and I know we can do it. We have 6 months left. We can do it. All right, so let's get back to our slides. All right, so we have a new 60-day cycle of production mantra that we are going to be pushing here for the next 60 days. Now, it doesn't start today. It starts next week. Next week, we're going to begin our new 60-day cycle. All right. The term is let's make the second half greater, right? Come June 6th, when we begin, we are done with the first half of the year. We're done with the first half of the year. And now we got another 6 months before we're finished with the year. So regardless of what your first half looked like, whether you knocked it out the park and you had the greatest first half of a year that you've ever had in this business, or whether you had a not so good first half and wished it was better, regardless of where you are on that spectrum, let's make the second half greater. Let's make the second half better. Let's beat it. Let's do more of this last part than we did the first part, whether great or not so great. Let's focus on making the second half greater. So our new goal, since we reached our goal last 60-day section of 4.1 million, we just can't stay there. Then we get complacent. We get lazy. So we had to increase that bad boy. So we've increased it. We're going to increase it by 10%. So our new goal now, instead of 4.1 million, is going to be 4.6 million. That's what we're shooting for. That's our new goal, 4.6 million, right? Now, the good thing is that we're starting off with some production already in the pipeline. Last 60-day cycle, we started off with about $700,000 worth of production in the pipeline. Well, now we're starting with close to $1.3 million in the pipeline already to go that we've gotten since these last 2 cycles have ended. So it's really putting us in a strong position to where we can meet our goal. So we just got to keep pushing. I know the last go round, it was the 9th hour that we reached our goal. Literally the day before it was going to expire, we got a $150,000 contract that was able to put us over the top. Literally 24 hours before it was supposed to be, we were recycling it. So it was a little bit of pressure, a little bit of push, but we got it done. So as long as we keep focused, we keep moving, we'll make sure that we keep hitting our goals. For this mantra, I have an iceberg. What a lot of people don't realize is that the part of the iceberg when you're out in the Arctic or by Alaska or wherever you are, that humongous mountain of ice that you see in the middle of the ocean, well, the part above the water that you see is actually the smallest part of the iceberg. This part, the greater size of the iceberg, is under the water. You don't see it, right? So what you've seen over these first 6 months, that's just a small part of your potential. The greater potential that you have has yet to be seen, and I want you to show it to us over this the next half of this year. I want you to show us the full potential, just like in this iceberg, the full potential of what you have to offer. And I know you got it. I know you got it. Okay, so let's make the second half greater. Realtor Recruitment Rally. It's still there. Great opportunity for you to bring on new agents. We're pushing the double count, so we're rewarding. We're wanting to include you all in being able to have the opportunity to get that residual income, that mailbox money when you're laying in the bed and you just got checks coming to you because somebody else that you recommended Brooks and Davis to, and we've developed them and got them to a position of where they're a producing agent. You're able to generate income off of just telling people about your experiences. I definitely want to applaud and thank Mr. Garland Harris. He's on here today. I want to thank him for taking his time out last Friday and going and manning the booth at our Champions Career Fair. And for him to do that, he's able, if any of these agents that come from that career fair that join Brooks and Davis, all of those agents are going to be his agent when it comes to the Realtor Recruitment Rally. He's going to get 5% override of their production for the life, or as long as they're with Brooks and Davis, forever. So I absolutely, definitely want to publicly thank him for spending his time. I mean, it was extremely effective for him. He had 55 people attend the booth. Of the 55 people, 42 of them want a phone call to discuss joining the firm. 42, right? I'm not just making numbers up. We have the proof, because in our questionnaire, when they register at our booth, we ask them those questions. Do you want a phone call about? Matter of fact, we ended up having like close to 5 people, or 4. I think it was 4 people. One person that said that they were interested in selling their house, and 3 people that said that they were interested in buying a house. So, you know, I just got to kind of look at you guys when I say this. When I'm encouraging you, or when Mr. Brooks is encouraging you to attend things and get involved with things, we're not blowing smoke. We're literally telling you, here's an opportunity we know will work out for you. You just need to show up, right? It's kind of like this. So I coach my son's t-ball game, right? Now, this is the thing about me coaching my son's t-ball game. I don't have to worry about equipment. I don't have to worry about the kids with their uniforms. I don't have to worry about the hats. They're having their gloves, bases for the field, helmets for them to put on, back catcher stuff. I don't have to worry about any of that. You know why I don't have to worry about any of that? Because the league that I coach, that my son plays in, they have all of that stuff, right? So all I have to do is show up. If I want we played the championship game yesterday. And for us to win the championship game, all I had to do was show up and coach. It's the same thing here. You guys don't have to worry about the setup. Y'all don't have to worry about the resources. Y'all don't have to worry about any of that stuff. All you have to do is show up and do what we're telling you to do. And it's going to put yourself in a position like Garland is, with 42 agents wanting a phone call about joining a firm. So today we're going to start following up with those agents, setting them up appointments with Mr. Brooks. He's going to get in there. I talked to him today. He said he's aggressive. He ready to do it. So we're going to get them in front of Mr. Brooks, and every single one of them that join, they're all going to be connected to Garland. So look, he's no specialer than anybody else. You all have the same access and the opportunity. You just have to show up. That's all we're saying. So the Realtor Recruitment Rally is still there for you to take advantage of as we continue to move towards our goal of increasing our agent count. Okay, so now is the fun part. All right, now's the fun part. I'm going to spend the rest of my time looking at the conference, the return on investment when it comes to attending conferences. Let me assure you, attending a conference can be a highly effective way of continuing to build and grow your business. Let me say it again. Attending conferences can be, I didn't say automatic, I didn't say is, I say it can be an extremely effective way to grow and build your business. and realistically to do it in a short period of time. The key though is you have to know how to do it the right way. There's a lot of people that don't bother with conferences because they don't understand how to operate it the right way. They don't understand how to go there and position themselves to where they can get that true return on investment that I'm talking about. So today, I actually did a Create Your New Life session about it some time ago. I don't remember when I did it, but I did it some time ago. You all have access to it. It's in your 7-dot training folder on your Create Your New Life catalog. So you can always go back to it, right? And we want to do it like that because now if you don't have a conference, say you don't have a conference scheduled for 2 months or 3 months from now, well, you can always go back and look at that series of videos to give you some refreshers to make sure that you're prepared for it. It's the same thing when we talked about the booth and how to get the most bang for when you have a booth set up. You may not have a booth. You may, for your church, they're letting y'all have free booths at a carnival. All right, well, go back, look at the Create Your New Life video and then give you a refresher and so of how you can set it up the right way to make sure that you can get what you need to get out of the booth, right? I mean, you're talking about, look, then this is my little humble boast. Again, I've been in real estate over almost 12 years, right? But it really ain't even about the years. It's about the amount of transactions that I've been a part of. I've been a broker. Of those 12 years, I've been a broker for 10 of them. And I've carried agents for 9 of them. So not only my personal production, but the production of agents that have honored me with allowing me to sponsor their licenses, I've been a party to those transactions. So it's not, it's so many transactions that I've seen, so many years that I've been in this business, so many agents that I've been connected to. So this is a knowledge base access to. And the same thing for Mr. Brooks. It's a knowledge base that you all have access to. And what I decided one day was that I wanted to take all of this knowledge that was in my head and I wanted to put it somewhere to where other people could go to it at their convenience. So that's how we came up with this whole Create Your New Life, where we're recording these sessions, the 7-dot training folder. It's me taking my knowledge, Mr. Brooks taking his knowledge, and instead of it just being in my head and his head, it's somewhere where people years from now will be able to utilize it and to where it can help them and help them grow their businesses like it helped us grow ours, right? So that's what that whole thing was about as far as the Create Your New Life session when concerning to create the attending getting a return on investment from your seminar. Now, the good thing that I did was inside of the agenda for today's training, there is a link that you can look at. Matter of fact, you know what? I forgot that I can show you this stuff. So here, so inside of these are the notes, the agenda notes. It's not showing. Come on, show me my agenda notes. Okay, it won't. All right, it won't show you the agenda notes. But what I can tell you is that on the agenda notes, there's a link. You just click on the link and it'll take you to that get a return on investment from attending a conference series. It'll take you to that folder. And I'm actually going to add today's video in there for that to be a part of that series, since it all talks about that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and recap these old slides that I did when I originally aired that session, when I originally did that session. So my point was, when going to a conference, the 2 most important things when talking about attending a conference, and the 2 most important ways for you to get a return on investment out of it, is to, number 1, take notes, number 2, networking. So it's about taking notes, because at that point it's about the information that you're getting. So it's about taking notes, and it's about networking, right? So those are the 2 things that the 2 ways that I'm going to show you how to leverage that to put you in a position to where you can get that return on investment that I'm talking about, right? All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is taking notes, right? So I go to the BE conference. Did I take notes? All right, the first thing, my first recommendation was taking notes digitally, right? So taking notes digitally, using smartphone, tablet, Google Docs, Evernote. There's so much of this digital software that's out there that you don't have to go in there with a big piece of tablet or folder or to be bothered with a whole bunch of stuff, right? You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to go back and like, man, where did I write that down in that book? Let me try to find that again. You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to do all of that, right? Because you got to work smarter, not harder. So take notes digitally. Now, don't write everything. So ideas, questions, and actions. Don't try to, when a presenter's presenting, because it's so much information that's going to be coming with you, right? If you haven't ever attended a conference, but I'm assuming everybody's been to a conference, well, you know that it's going to be main sessions, it's going to be breakaways, it's going to be, you know, you're in the hallway, you got expo booths, you got all kind of stuff around you. So if you try to get every single word that you hear, it's gonna kill you, man. Like that's just too much. That's information overload, and it's an extremely ineffective way to do it. So what you do, you don't write everything. You just write ideas that come to mind as somebody's talking. You write out questions when somebody presents something out there. You write out questions saying, you know, how are we going to implement that, or how does that information relate to my business? You do that kind of stuff. You write out action items. Oh, you know what? When I get back to the office, I need to do this. Action items. So you don't write everything verbatim. You write out those things, those ideas that formalize, those action items that you can implement when you get back, those questions that arise that you need to sit down and think about, right? Those major takeaways that were just like great, like the quote that I used. You know, you write that kind of stuff down, all right? Google items in real time. Hey, look, if you're taking notes digitally, whether that's with your laptop or your iPad or your smartphone, well, most of us have a data plan, a data package. So if they throw out something and to prevent you from having to spend so much more time later on recapping, because what happens a lot of time is people go to conferences and they take notes, but they never do some of the other stuff that I'm going to talk about. They don't do number 5, which is go back through the notes, right? They take notes and then they sit them down and then they find them a year later. You know, one of the things that I mentioned in the other video was I went to the NAR conference one year and then had a bag full of stuff, had notes, did all that stuff, and then came back, and then 365 days later, I took the stuff out of the bag for that NAR conference because I was preparing for the next NAR conference that I was about to go to, and I was going to use the same bag. It's crazy, but that's what happens. And that's why a lot of times people don't get that return on investment when they're attending these conferences. So you have your phone, iPad, just go ahead and go to the internet and Google it. If somebody throws out an app, like, hey, you need to look at this app, go to it and Google it and take the website that comes up and add it to your digital notes. If somebody mentions a book you need to go take a look at, go Google it real time and get that information, get a picture of it. If they recommend a software or a new whatever recommendations or insights that may be good for you to grow your business, you should Google it real time. All right, and then here, number five, going through the notes. Do it within 24 hours because it's still fresh. Like as I was, as you go through the notes, you're gonna see it, but there probably is some additional information for you to connect what the true thought was, because while you're there, you may just jot down just enough to get you to where you can continue to pay attention to what the speaker is saying, right? So when you come back later, that's where you can add the extra, that's where you can add the fluff around what you printed in your digital notes, so you can understand what was that thought that you were trying to put on paper at that time. What was that thing that you were trying to get at that time that you was there? So you want to do it within 24 hours because it's still fresh. Okay. You definitely want to research websites, documents, etc., those things that were mentioned, and add the hyperlinks to your notes, right? So as you're going back through it, going back with what you saw, and you begin to, as you start researching those items that you didn't do real time, well, then what you do is you start adding those hyperlinks, you start adding those websites, and the different articles. Maybe they recommend an article. You just start adding all that stuff to your notes, compile that stuff, man, because you really want to capitalize off of the information that's been delivered. Listen, you paid for it, so you might as well maximize it. You paid for it with your money, you paid for it with your time, you might as well maximize it. And this is the way to do it. C, you identify and prioritize the action item. I can't tell you how important this part is, because listen, period. Prioritization is the key, because not every single thing has the same level of value. There are some things that are, number one, more valuable, that are, number two, needs to be done in a more of an urgent position. There are just things, and you need to prioritize your action, your items, and because, let me tell you why. First of all, everybody gets the same 24 hours. Everybody, regardless of your financial status, regardless of your color, regardless of your creed, your race, whatever. Everybody gets the same 24 hours. So the only difference between rich people and poor people, or middle-class people, is not that rich people have more time to execute what they're doing. Rich people know they do better things with their time. They do things with their time that poor people don't do. Rich people do things with their time that middle-class people don't do. So it's not a matter of extra time or more time. It's a matter of how they utilize their time, how they budget their time. So this right here is saying, let's utilize your time on the things that give greater value, greater return. Let's do that first. Let's utilize your energy on things that give greater value, greater content first. Let's do those things first. So that's why we want to identify and prioritize our action items. And then once we do that, we're going to begin working on our action items, not next week, not in a month. We're going to start working on them right now. So now, what we're doing here is that I'm also kind of dealing with the psyche. I'm also kind of dealing with the psychology of your mind. Because a lot of times the reason that we don't move, that we don't execute, because it's too overwhelming, it's too big, right? So now I done went for this whole week, I done went to this conference, I done got all this information, I done put all these notes on here, and now I need to start doing some stuff. I didn't prioritize, but I've identified things I need to do, and now I'm like, wow, this is so much. So guess what we tend to do? Do nothing. We tend to not move at all. We tend to just slide it to the side and say, I'll get back to that later. Or I'll do that later. I'll do that next. Or I'll do that. So that's why we do it. So I'm dealing with your psyche, right? By telling you to prioritize it. And when I say prioritize it, go from the most important, in your opinion, based on what you implemented into your business and things like that. Some of the things that I tell you guys with these sessions, go from the most important to the least important. Just make you a list, number it, right? So maybe you got 15 action items, 20 action items, 25 action items, but you got action items and you got a list of them. Then when I say begin immediately, I'm not saying begin working on all of them at the same time. I'm saying begin with number one immediately. Start working on number one, and don't start working on 2, 3, 5, 10. Don't start working on another one until you do what needs to be done with that very first action item. Start with number one. Put your energy, put your time, put your effort in accomplishing the very first action item, and do that immediately, and then finish that one out, and then move down the list, right? So now we're eating that elephant one bite at a time. We're taking that 1,000-mile journey one step at a time, right? And then you'll look up and you done ate that elephant. or you didn't made that thousand mile journey because you took it and you compartmentalized it and you took it in small steps. All right. So that was the information about taking notes. The second thing was networking. You got to network at the conference, right? Well, first you got to set a goal. Well, the goal is to build database. The reason that you go to conferences, right? So you get your return on investment from the information that you receive and how you utilize it, right? You got to turn that information into actionable items, right? So the actionable items and the impact that the actionable items give you is the return, right? If you never turn the information into actionable items, then it was all really for nothing. You going to the conference, you spending your money, spending your time, spending your money on hotels, on cars, you know, travel to get down there, on flights, food, you spending all your money on that was really for nothing if you can't turn the information that you got into actionable items. All right, so now the second thing is, if you can't turn the relationships or the contacts, new contacts, or even former contacts, if you can't turn those contacts into some of the things that we're going to talk about here, then it was all for nothing. It was a waste of money. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of energy. Next time, just stay at home and look at Game of Thrones or Empire or whatever you like to do. But don't go to the conference because it's waste. It's wasteful. And I hate waste. All right. So when networking, when we're talking about networking, first thing you want to do is set a goal. You want to build your database. So how many people do you want to add? You want to add 10 people? You want to add 20 people? You want to add 5 people? You just want to say, I want to add as many people as possible. I just find that it is a lot more achievable if you do have a goal in place that you set, right? So definitely set a goal. And again, the goal is really when networking, in any networking, whether it's at the conference or wherever. If it's just at your child's elementary school. Listen, networking is everywhere, right? Now, I did one that was called, did you know that networking is a noun and not a verb, right? See, we tend to think that networking is a verb. It's something that you do. That's not the case. Networking is not a verb. Networking is a noun. Networking is an exchange, right? It is an event that people participate in. So what we do is we participate in the networking. So you can choose to participate in the networking, or you can choose to not participate in the networking. But the networking is not a verb, right? So Michael G. Davis doesn't go to the conference to network. Michael G. Davis goes to the conference to participate in the networking. See, the networking is going to take place regardless. Whether you're doing it or not, networking is taking place. What I'm telling you is that you need to participate in the networking that is taking place at the conference, right? But it doesn't just have to be at the conference. I participate in the networking at my little girl's elementary school or my kids' elementary school. I participate in the networking at my church. I participate in the networking at the little league team. I participate with the networking with the different organizations like the Houston Black Real Estate Association, the Houston Black Leadership Institute, the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce. I participate in the networking that happens. I participate in the networking from my university. I participate in the networking. Networking is everywhere. The networking is taking place. All networking is an exchange. It's a connection. I'm saying you need to participate in it, right? So let's just get back to what we're talking about here with the conference. You participating in the networking. So number 2, set a goal. Number 2, go to the events and the classes. I've seen so many people go to a conference, spend that money, and really it's just like they're on vacation. They ain't never been to Long Beach before. So since they ain't never been to Long Beach before, they're going to go to the conference. But while the conference is taking place, they don't do none of this stuff right here. They out and about, sightseeing and all that. I'm not saying you don't sightsee. What I'm saying is you're not there to sightsee. You there to get a return on investment. Now, you can do both. When I go to conferences, I do both. I do sightseeing. I do taking care of my business. I get it both done, right? You can do the same thing. You got to go to the events. A lot of these conferences they have mixers, luncheons, galas. They have all of that, right? You got to participate in that. You got to go to these things. You got to get up, get your butt up. You hang out late at night. You get tired. The sessions start at 7 in the morning, but you tired, so you sleep in and you miss the whole first morning. It was funny to me that I was talking. We was at lunch at one of the conferences, and the lady was just talking bad on this conference is bad compared to the other conferences. It ain't doing nothing. This isn't that. So I asked. Now, mind you, the lunch we on is at like 1 o'clock. Next session is at 2 o'clock. So we see them come in. They sit next to us. They grabbing a bite. We at the bar grabbing a bite, and it's 1 o'clock. So she's saying all of this. So here go me. Y'all just getting here? Yeah, we just getting here. So you didn't see none of the stuff that happened this morning, and the morning was it was powerful that morning, but they didn't see that. So then I start asking other questions. Well, did you go to this event? Nah, we ain't go to that. Well, did you go to that event? Nah, we ain't go to that. Well, of course the conference sucks for you. You ain't went to nothing. How you gonna say a conference is not good and you ain't attending nothing, right? So you got to go to the events. Number 3, engage, right? You got to engage people. You got to identify relationships that you can build. You got to identify referral and relocation opportunities. You have to, you can have conversation and identify ideas for that are working in other markets for you to work in your market. So it's very, very important that you engage. So let me tell you what engaging is not. Engaging is not you going to the event and just standing on the wall. That's not engaging. It's not you going to the event and grabbing a seat and just people watching people. That's not engaging. Some people go to the park and they people watch, right? That ain't engaging, right? Engaging is you going to the event and you actively looking for people to talk to. Don't let it be more than 60 seconds of you not talking to somebody, of you just standing around. Don't let it be more than 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. If you've been standing around not talking to nobody for 3 minutes, then you need to go find you somebody to talk to. And it's not hard to engage people, man. All you got to do, everybody's at a conference, it's already in their head that they're going to meet people, even if they don't want to meet nobody, even if they're an introvert. Like some people say they're introverts, so that ain't what they do. And they totally misunderstand what the meaning of that is. But my point is, and most of the time, it's just a matter of you going and introducing yourself to somebody. Somebody sitting next to you in a class. Hi, I'm Michael G. Davis, Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. What's your name? And then they say their name. And so now it's open for you to have a conversation with them. Hi, I'm Michael. I'm from Houston. Where are you from? Boom. I do real estate. What do you do? Like it's simple, right? But yet still, we don't do it. Not only is it simple, it's effective. It's what we got to do as salespeople to have any level of success. It's really built into how strong your network is. But if you're not feeding it and adding to it, then your network's going to be weak, right? My network's not as strong as I want it to be, but it's strong. And it's a lot stronger than a lot of other people's networks. And that's because I've actively worked and nurtured it, right? But we're not here to talk about that. Look at one of the other Create Your New Life sessions where I talk about how to handle your database and your network. Anyway, at any rate, you got to engage, okay? Number 4, start off with offering them something start off with offering them something, then you get a better response, okay? So offer them something. This is what that looks like. You start off with offering something, all right? You sit next to somebody at a luncheon, right? Maybe it's a self-serve type luncheon, and once you finish eating, you got to go to the trash can or whatever. All right, so instead of you just getting up and taking your stuff to the trash, you get up and you ask the people sitting at your table, hey, can I take that for you to the trash? Can I take that for you to the trash, right? Do something for somebody. If you getting up, you're going to get yourself a glass of water. Hey, does anybody else want to get a glass of water? Can I get something else for somebody else? Offer to do something for somebody else, because what that does is that puts you in a position to where they'll be more welcoming to you, right? You want people to feel comfortable. You want people, that's the best way, the greatest way for people to connect is when they feel comfortable with you. That's when they'll open up. That's when they'll, you know, give you the information that you need to where you can, leverage it, leverage the time with them. So you definitely want to do that. You definitely want to do that. Okay, so that's what, start off with offering them something first. You get a better response. All right, number 5, when going through business cards, here we go. Now, I need to add one to this, right? So there's going to be a new thing that come, there may be a couple of new things that come out of our talk today about this most recent session that we've done. All right. So the first thing is, when going through business cards, you want to do it within 24 hours. Again, for the same reason, you want it to be fresh, right? And what I found is that you have a better chance of doing it the sooner you do it, right? And this is what I mean. Okay. You got the business cards, and instead of you going through it now as soon as possible, you put them to the side. The reason you put them to the side, because something shows up, right? You know, something always comes, something always happens, right? So you want to force yourself to do it as soon as possible to ensure that it gets done. It just greatly increases your chances of the item getting completed. It just does. So I really highly encourage, do it within 24 hours or as soon as possible, right? Margaret hit me on the group meeting. So that's another thing, that if you guys can't speak on the group chat, I do have my phone by me and I see the comments in the group meet. She talked about, you know, the tip about taking the trash for somebody and getting them to open up. She felt that was a good tip. And again, that's what this is about. Like, if you guys see something or I say something and you like, man, that really resonates with you, let me know what it is. Because if it resonates with Margaret, that means there are other people out there, that's something that maybe resonate, that we can expand or I can expound upon with other individuals. So I absolutely want you guys' feedback on the things that we're talking about here, on how valuable it is or it isn't. Okay, so then Evernote software. Now, I'm gonna be candid with you. Evernote has it set up to where you can take a picture of a person's business card and it will automatically upload the information into your contact. Come here. Hold on, guys. He needs a for sale sign in there.
Oh, no, it's for rent.
He needs a for lease sign in there.
Okay.
Look for one of those. Tell him, stop it. Look for something in that cabinet.
Terry.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys. It's the reason I have my door open. I'm multitasking. Anyway, but don't do that. Don't multitask. Anyway, so Evernote has a software that you can take a picture of, and it'll upload it into the contacts. Right now, it also is supposedly, when it uploads into the contacts of your phone, it will save it in the Evernote note, and it also will send them an invitation on LinkedIn. Okay, so now what I can tell you is that when it comes to sending a note or adding it to your phone, it does that. It does send the message on LinkedIn or the connect. It asks them to connect. Can I connect with you on LinkedIn? It does that. Now, me, I was trying to get it to automatically add to my CRM, because you know me, look, if I could do that, if I could just meet somebody, take a picture of their card, and it does all those things, and it ends up in my Wise agent, oh man, we good to go. So for the longest, I researched to try to figure out how to do that. I thought I had it figured out, but then what happened is that sometimes it'll do it, sometimes it won't do it. So it didn't quite work out for me. But my point is this. If you don't have a system in place to help grow your LinkedIn account, is that Evernote piece, that Evernote setup is really good. Like, if you don't have anything to, like, if you do have it to where you want to keep people's contact information in your phone and you want to utilize that as your database, then this is a good setup here, what Evernote has. Now, there is a cost. It's an annual cost to it. But again, as long as you're getting a return on it and you're utilizing it, hey, it makes sense. So the Evernote software. All right, follow up. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Fortune's in the follow up. Yes, it is. Fortune is in the follow up, right? And you can do it in numerous ways. Email, thank you cards, social, listen, thank you cards work, okay? Thank you cards work. Handwritten thank you cards. But email, thank you cards, social media, you're adding to your CRM, scheduling face-to-face meetings. You have got to follow up. Listen, it's a waste of everything for you to go to a conference, do all of this, get a big stack of business cards, right? You get a big stack of business cards like this, big stack of business cards, and just lay them on your desk. They just sitting there on your desk, not doing nothing, taking up space, gathering dust. Big stack of business cards. For what? Look, this is actually the business cards from the conference that I attended. Big stack of business cards. You come back to your office, you lay them on the desk, and you don't do nothing else with them. If you do not follow up with the people and the networks and the people that you've met, if you don't follow up with them, then again, it's a waste of time. You're doing yourself a disservice by not following up. You got to follow up. So that's a major key when it comes to being effective and getting that return on investment through you participating in the network while you're at the networking while you're at the conference. Okay, so again, I did a Create Your New Life session. I did 2 of them where I spent time going through both of those aspects, the note-taking and the networking, and I just wanted to recap it. So now here's the fun part. Here's the good stuff for the rest of the time. How did I do when I attended the Black Enterprise Conference on last week? Did I follow my own rules? Did I follow my own guidelines when attending the Black Enterprise Conference? So let's see. Let's see how I did. All right, again, this is my first time looking, so I don't know. But we about to see. So let's go back. Let's start with taking notes. Let's see how I did when it came to taking notes. So first thing I said was take notes digitally. Did I take notes digitally? Let's see what we got. So here are my notes. Hold on, having technical difficulties. Here we go, take notes, boom. So here are my notes from the Black Enterprise workshop. So boom, I took notes. Here we go. These are pictures of the actual different screens. These are my screenshot pictures of the slides. And these are my digital notes. So I utilized the Google suite of documents. So they're Google Docs. And I did all of this on my iPhone. I didn't even do it on my iPad. I did it on my iPhone. I pulled up this. I had this document the entire time I was at the conference. And inside of the document, when you're on your phone, you can actually, while you're inside of the document, take a picture and add the picture to the document. So I was automatically able to take pictures of the slides as I did it digitally. And look at that. I'm even taking pictures of business cards. How about that? So did I take digital notes? Yes. So that's one check. One check for me. I took digital notes. Okay. The next one is don't write everything. Just write ideas, questions, and actions. And look, take pictures of slides and events that you may want to follow up on. So look, so we already seen I did 3, right? We can already see that. So did I do 2? What did I take notes of? Did I take notes of everything? These are multiple hour-long sessions. So if I took notes, if I had took notes of everything, there would be a lot more words on here. So what did I take notes of? Thoughts, ideas, another word for that. Books, right? Let's see, what else? That's an action item. I didn't put action item next to it, but follow them on Twitter and retweet. That's an action item. Get a Joby stand to place my iPhone. Okay, so that's an action item, something to do, right? So did I do that? Did I take notes of greatest issue to Black business is not access to capital, it's scalability? Action item, get with Mayor Turner's team around affordable housing and mixed income housing workforce situation. Follow with an email. That's an action item. All right, so it looks like I did number 2. So I took notes digitally, didn't write everything, only wrote ideas, action items. There was some questions in there too. We'll see that later. I took pictures of slides and events. Did I Google items real time? Okay, so now, some things I did Google real time, but I did not add it. I did not add the hyperlink to the note. Now, here's the thing though. See, like this, Zingle, I do think I Googled. I do remember while this person was presenting, Bone and Bo, I Googled him to find out who he was and what he did. I Googled Zingle. I think I did research Zingle. I can't remember. But I do remember that there were some things that I did Google while I was there, but not everything, right? So I'm not going to give myself, so I give myself an A on taking notes. I give myself an A on, you know, not writing everything, taking pictures of the slides. But when it comes to the Google items in real time, I didn't do it. I wouldn't give myself an A on that. Like I would give myself a B or a B minus, right? I did some of it, but I give myself a B or a B minus. All right, so now when going through notes, do it within 24 hours. Did I do it within 24 hours? No, I did not. Okay, I did not go through my notes as soon as the conference was over, right? I did not. I did it this week. So I did it maybe about 5 days later. So I don't get a B or an A. It's kind of C. That's C territory right there on the amount of time that it took for me to go through my notes. So I give me a C, maybe a C plus, something like that. All right. Now, did I research websites, documents, etc., mention and add hyperlinks to the notes? Now, keep in mind, I'm still going through the notes, right? So I'm still going through it, right? So I have on some areas I have added hyperlinks. So I have started doing some of that as I'm adding it, but I'm still going through the notes, and I will add, like this one, I added that hyperlink. I will continue to add hyperlinks while I'm doing it. So, you know, I give myself an A on that because I am gonna, in my action items, you see, when we look at the action items from it, we'll see that I've gone through the notes and I put what I need to research. Okay, identify and prioritize action items. Okay, again, I'm still working through the notes. I haven't prioritized them yet. I am going to prioritize them, but I have not. But I have the action items in a position. I pulled all of my action items out. So that's what I've done already. I pulled out stuff. So I pulled out my thoughts. I pulled out my takeaways. I pulled out questions. I pulled out books. I pulled out action items. So now I need to prioritize my action items. I kind of did a little bit. So these purple action items, I've already identified that they are going to be the first things that I do, but these aren't in any particular order, and these down here are not in any particular order. So I kind of started the prioritization piece. It was already a part of what I was going to do, so I give myself an A on that. Okay, begin working on your action items immediately. Well, since I'm not finished going through my notes, but I am, you guys can see that I'm actively doing it, then I'm going to give myself an A on that as well, right? Okay, so what did I get? All right, you guys can see that I'm actively going through these notes and prioritizing them. It's about a week later. All right, so far, I got an A with taking notes. I got a because I didn't write everything. I got a Google items real time. Take pictures of slides. Gave myself an A. Google items real time. I gave myself a B or B minus. When going through notes, do it within 24 hours. I gave myself a C because I didn't do that one at all. But all the rest of them, I got A's. So I did all right. I average. I have an A average, right? If I was in school and I got A's on all of that, I have an A average. So I got an A average on taking notes at the conference. Yay me. Okay, so now let's see how we did with the networking piece. All right, did I set a goal? Now, I did not set a goal. All right. I did not set a goal of how many cards I was going to get, how many people I was going to add to my database. I did not do that. Now, listen, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I've been in this thing a long time, right? And for me, it is now natural. It's natural for me to go out and engage and meet people. Now, this isn't something that happened overnight. I am an introvert. I know you may be surprised me saying that, but I am an introvert. I'm an extreme introvert, right? The thing about introvert and extrovert, and you can go and Google it when you get a chance, but the true definition, introvert and extrovert, has to do with energy, and it has to do with how a person is energized, right? So extroverts are energized. They get energy by being out, being around people, being in packs. That's how they gain energy. So that's why they like to go out. That's why they like to hang out. And they can go out and then they come back home and they're not tired. They're still up, right? Ready to keep hitting it. Well, an introvert like me, I get energized by being by myself, through self-reflection, through internal type of things, through spending time working on projects and fixing things and, going to self-reflection. That's how I energize. That's how I re-energize myself. I recoup, right? So I'm the type of person, I go to a party, we go hang out, and I'll kind of do my thing, but after a while, I'm gonna be ready to go to the highs. I'm gonna be tired, like I'm gonna be drained. And then by the time I do get home, I'm passed out, I'm out, right? Because that is so tiring for me. That's a drain on me to be around too many people at once. Okay, that's draining on me. Now, that don't quite work in real estate. That don't quite work in salesmanship. Even though that ain't my natural being, my natural inclination, I had to train myself and teach myself how to be effective in doing it. And it took years. So now I've gotten to the point to where you don't have to motivate me to go meet nobody. Like, I don't have to get myself egged up. Like, there were times I would have to get myself together mentally. But now it's easy for me. So I didn't set a goal. I didn't need to set a goal, not for me, to go out there and get effective. Remember, I showed you this. This is my true stack. These are the stack of business cards of people that I met. You see the cards on my notes that I took pictures of. I did my thing, right? But I did not set a goal. Okay, but I told y'all to set a goal. I didn't set a goal, so I got to give myself a D. So I got to give myself a D on not setting a goal. All right. So what's the next thing? Go to the events and the classes. So did I go to the events and the classes? Absolutely. I went to the events and the classes at the thing. I mean, a lot of times, let me talk to you about the events and the classes. I'm not saying you have to go to everything, okay? There are going to be some things that do not interest you. And I'm not telling you just to go to something, just to go to it. If you don't feel like it's interesting, if you don't feel like it can add value to your business or to you, don't go to it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you need to take the time to look through the agenda, look through the itinerary, and put a star next to those things like, yeah, I need to go to that. I need to check that out. I need to go to that. I need to check that out, right? And you need to attend those things. So I went to everything that I wanted to go to that I felt was effective. Now, it's not a cop-out saying, look, well, the only thing that was effective to me was this one session. So I only went to the one session and then I went somewhere else. You got to be true to yourself, right? So I truly sat down and I looked through everything that I felt like would be a benefit of value for me to attend, and I went to it. And it was way more than two things, obviously, right? But that was still the premise of what I'm talking about, is that I did not go to everything, right? But I did go to the events and I did go to the classes. I did. All right. So engage. Engage was the next thing. We're participating in the network. So I give myself an A on the events and the classes. Engage. All right. Did I identify relationships? Did I look for referral and relocation opportunities? Were there any ideas that came about as far as working in other markets from people that I talked to? So now, the best way for me to speak to this is for us to maybe look at some of these business cards that I got as well as the notes. So now, this is the thing about business cards and notes. So I got everybody's business card that I talked to. I did do that. I got everybody's business card. Oh, what is the problem? Okay. So I got everybody's business card that I talked to when I was at the conference. Okay. So, you know, there were people like this. All right. So this is a guy, the social box. We thought that this might be a good concept for us to be able to utilize with Brooks and Davis at maybe an event or something to help us capture people's contact information. And it seemed like a really cool thing, right? So we got that card. We networked with the guy, got his card. Got this guy's card and met him. They have a ginger juice or juice made out of ginger from Africa. He was a part of one of the sessions, and he had applied for a FedEx small business grant. I didn't even know they existed. So by having a conversation with this guy, I got to taste his ginger juice, but also we'll see as we look at my notes, there's an action item for me to follow up with the FedEx small business. All right, so this is Tech Sync. I don't know who this is, so it must not be nothing that I'm gonna do something with. All right, this guy, and we'll see him in our database. He's actually an investor. We went to school together, right? So he was at the conference. He went to my alma mater. This is a way for us to connect. He's an investor, so he's looking to see. I have on the back $600,000 cash. He has about $600,000 cash that he wants to invest in real estate. He already has 3 properties in his portfolio. So I met that guy, Tea Cake Chef. This is just a young man that I sat next to, him and his mom. Matter of fact, this was the first person that I talked to at the conference. So it was a young man, him and his dad. They sell tea cake. His mom was there, and we just had a delightful conversation with him. So Caleb, and his mom's name was Connie, right? So that was a good conversation. Tony Davis, he's a real estate investor. He actually sought me out, and he's an investor. So we're gonna add him to our buyers list and see, just like with my other guy, give him some opportunities to purchase some real estate, possible client. Free Cake Me. So this is a nice lady from Philadelphia, and got her information. She, we talked a couple of times, and she actually participated in one of the contests, the pitch contest, about her cake that you can cook the cake in 90 seconds. So that was a nice person. Nate Peterson's another guy. He goes to Prairie View, but I told him I was going to connect him with the group. Again, make that connection, right? So he's at Prairie View in the Community Development and Economic Development Department at Prairie View, and there's a contact that I have, and I said, hey man, I think it'll be good if y'all met. So I'll make the connection. I don't know if anything will come from it, but since whenever you lead with being able to give something, what I found is it comes back. It comes back around. So here's a guy. So these guys out of New York, and they're doing a reality show. They want to do a reality show competition for skating. But this is the thing. So this guy right here, we'll see this later. He's considering relocating to Houston. This guy is this guy's manager, right? And his client, and they're going and they're pushing the show. So they're at the summit trying to push the show, try to producer. But this guy's considering either moving to Houston or Puerto Rico. But he's going to go to one of those 2 places, right? He loves Houston. So possible lead. Okay. This young lady right here, she's from Houston. Now, let me tell you about this young lady. We talk about engaging. So this is one of the first people that I met at the conference. And we were sitting there. It was at the little happy hour, little mixer. And we were sitting there just kind of talking. It was a group of us, right? So one person asked, do you have any business cards, right? Because, you're at an entrepreneurship conference, a business conference, you assume everybody got business cards. So she's like, yeah, I gave out my last card. Now, that's what she said. This is in the beginning of the conversation. And now let me tell you, engage is very important and it's powerful. And really a lot of times that engage piece separates winners from losers. Trust me, it does. Because at this conversation right here, there was another real estate professional, and we knew each other. there was another real estate professional that had actually spent time conversing with this young lady right here, right? Before I got into the equation and I started talking to her. So there was an actual another real estate agent, licensed, made his money the same way I make my money at the conference. We know each other. So I start speaking to her. She ain't got no business cards, but I start talking to her. She sees that I'm in real estate. And then she starts talking about her house and like, hey, I'm thinking about selling. I don't really know. And this, and that. So she's just talking. She's like, but I'm not ready to do nothing. They always say that. I ain't ready to do nothing now. I'm going to do this next year. Now, I'm just thinking. They feel like you're going to pounce on them. I'm like, look, man, don't worry about it. It's all good. So as I'm speaking to the young lady, she tells me, no, I offer, see, listen to what I'm saying. I offer to do an analysis on her home. How do you know if you want to sell your house if you don't even know what it's valued at? You don't even know if you got equity in it or anything. You don't know any of that stuff. So what are you possibly thinking about? How can you say I'm thinking about selling my house, but you ain't did nothing else to figure out any of this other stuff, right? So clearly to me, you're not effectively putting yourself in a position to sell your house. There's no point in thinking about it. So to make a long story short, I told her I would offer to do a market analysis for her, and she happened to find a card. Miss, I don't have any more cards. Turned into, oh, you know what? I think I got one more card. Why? Because I offered to do something for her, right? Okay, so this is a young lady. Now look, I'm not gonna go through all of them because there's a bunch of them. But my point is that I engaged and I talked to people, right? And I got cards. Right? And there's opportunities for me to follow up. And some opportunities are greater than other opportunities. You see, not everybody in this stack was on the same line when it came to if I should follow up, sense of urgency when it comes to value relationship. Like everybody in this stack is not on the same playing field. There's billions of people on the earth, and all billion of these people cannot effectively push my business in a particular direction. And if you operate like that, then you're spread too wide, right? You have to be able to prioritize and pinpoint who are those people, what is the information, what are these opportunities that's going to help move your business in a particular direction. You can't leave it wide open for everybody. You can't do that, right? So that was that. Right. So now, did I engage? Did I identify relationships? Did I talk about referral stuff? All right. But hold on. Before we end there, let's look at some of the other notes. So now this is where my high profile relationships, I added them to my notes, right? Because this purple right here, everybody that's in purple, are leads. These are action items, follow-up action items on leads for me to follow up with, right? And look at that right at the top. Do CMA and schedule a coffee appointment with Miss Ade Adewole. The card that I showed you right here. Boom. The card that I showed you right at the top, right? And then we have email, Primo. We talked about him. Where's he at? Boom. Email Primo. Right there. Boom. Email Primo. Follow up with Jimmy Henry. He there too. Where he at? Jimmy Henry. Boom. That's up there. Follow up with Jimmy Henry. Want to invest in properties. Raymond Velasco, his card in here. He may be looking to purchase real estate in Sugar Land. Where his card at? And look, this is the crazy thing about it. I can't find, okay, so say I can't find Raymond Velasco's card. Well, guess what? Anybody tell me that they looking to buy real estate, I'm gonna take a picture of that card, right? So although I can't find his card, I got a picture of his card. I ain't gonna lose that information. Why? Because he's a lead. He's trying to buy something, right? So he there, Raymond Cheryl Wyndham. That's a young lady. Here go her card right here. That's a young lady that's interested in becoming a Brooks and Davis real estate agent. See, I'm sitting here telling y'all we trying to double our agent count. Well, I need to be out there doing my own work, helping to my own cause, right? Interested in moving her sponsorship. We're gonna follow up on him. We talk about relocation and relocation opportunities. Michael Toles, he's interested in purchasing property in Detroit. Now, am I licensed in Michigan? No, but can I? Okay, all right, gang, we got kicked off temporarily. Anyway, so Amber Newman is in my sphere of influence, right? She's a very prominent young lady, friend of mine, and you know I always look for ways to again nurture my network, nurture my database. So this gives me an opportunity or a reason to reach out to her. Why? Because I always want to stay top of mind that I do real estate. So me connecting this gentleman, Reggie Lewis, is putting me in a position to reach out to somebody that's in my sphere of influence. It's also doing something of value for him about what they're doing. So that gives me a reason to make that connection. I need to make the connection. Joyce Scott, she was at the conference. Again, this is somebody that's in my sphere of influence, right? Top of mind. You know, she's actually one of my people of influence. So I've even taken my database and I've broken that down. Like who's a person of influence that's a connector that has, you know, people that listen to her. Well, I saw her at the conference. I need to do a follow-up, right? I took a picture with Clyde Drexler. Talked to him a little bit. He was impressed by a question that I asked. Well, I need to try to find him. I didn't get he didn't have a card. He didn't give me a card, but I can track him down. He lives in Houston. He's somewhere. So, you know, when we go to, did I engage? Yes, I did all of this, even to the relocation piece. I get an A plus on that, right? Did I start off with them? Did I start off with offering them something? Then I get a better response. Absolutely. You can see in there where I'm talking about helping people connect with some of my contacts, offering free CMAs, doing all kind of stuff. Even the young lady that was interested in joining and switching real estate firms, I sent her a text to our website, right? Offering to do stuff, right? So, you know, you got to do that. All right, so now number 5. Did I go through them within 24 hours? Now, this is what I can say on going through the business cards within 24 hours. I actually did go through the business cards. Now, I didn't go through the notes within 24 hours, but I did go through the business cards. And see, that's why in the notes, you see the pictures. See, I went through, like, you don't see the whole stack of business cards that I showed you. I went through them, and the leads I took pictures of and wrote down what that person was interested in, or where I saw that person being a part of it. So that's where. So I did actually go through the business cards within 24 hours. I did do that. Okay, the Evernote software. Now I did not utilize the Evernote software, but I still can. Like I don't know. Like because it wasn't working the way that I needed it to work, I kind of stopped using it. But I may take a second look at it. So for the Evernote piece, I can't get an A for that. All right. Follow up. So yes, you can clearly see in my notes that there are action items for me to follow up with these people. Now, everybody that gave me a business card, I'm going to look for a way to follow up with them. Right. So I may reach out to them on social media, connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a quick email, send them a thank you card. Like everybody's going to get touch and connection. Like I know for a fact, everybody I'm going to reach out to on social media and try to connect them that way. Right. But there are going to be other people that get thank you cards, they get phone calls, they get emails, they get requests to go out and grab some coffee. Like there are going to be, and I've actually already started that because the young lady that I told I was going to do the market analysis for, I've already reached out to her and started that conversation. And then here's one, I didn't even get the business card for this. This just happened. This is actually, again, conferences are for more than just meeting new people, right? You can meet other people. This is actually a photo, a camera, a screenshot of my phone, my CMA in my phone, because I ran into her at the conference, and we caught up, right? This is a relationship that we've had in the past. See, I met her June of 2015. So she's been in my database since 2015. So as we caught up, we've talked on occasions and things like that. But as she started talking to me, she said she has a house that she bought and she's fixing it and she's ready to put it on the market. She wants to sell it. She wanted me to do a little analysis for us to see. She wants to list it for $300,000, right? And I followed up with it. That's another lead. I didn't add it to my list of action items because I've actually already kind of talked to her and initiated things with her. So we're in the process now of doing the listing agreement. But my point is that at the time, I knew what I needed to do. Take a snapshot of that thing, put it in my notes, and then I keep going, move on to the next part of the conference. So the follow-up piece I have done and I'm continuing to do, so I give myself an A for that. So with the networking piece, I have an average of an A, right? So I think I got an A. Like I think I did an excellent job of following my own recommendations when it talked about getting a return on investment when it came to a conference. So I spent my money, I spent my time, but you can clearly see that I got solid information, broke it down. I turned it into actionable items that I can clearly follow up with. I leveraged and I met new individuals. I pulled up, we're talking about 10 plus leads from Wednesday. The thing started Wednesday and it ended on Friday. And we're talking about 10 plus leads over a 3-day period, quality leads from all over the United States. And some are already matriculating where we already have listing agreements in place. I'm just ultimately trying to prove my case and prove my point that, number one, there's major opportunity out here in real estate. If you do the things that I tell you to do, you'll get the results that I get, right? You will be able to grow your business, add to your business, and ultimately, we are committed to your success. We're committed to you being successful. So it is our duty to continue to put out this kind of content, to take it, test it ourselves, see what's working, see what's not working. It's our duty to continue to do these things and give you all those information. Not just give you the information, but also give you the opportunities to utilize the information, as well as hold you accountable to it if you're not doing it and you're not realizing the results that we know you have the potential to realize and that you can see if you just do what we tell you to do. So I got an A. So listen, next time you go to a conference, I want you to get an A, because an A translates into money, translates into dollar signs. So I want you to get an A, and I want you to do these things that we talked about today. And I want you to be successful as you continue to build and grow your business, and you get that return on investment from your time and your money and your energy spent when you go to a conference. That's all I have for today. Any questions? Any comments? I would love to handle that for you guys. If not, it's Memorial Day weekend. You guys be careful. Go out there and hang out. I'm actually about to get on the road, go down to old Lubbock, Texas. and see my nephew graduate. Proud of him, really proud of him. And so we'll be on the road. But anyway, you guys be safe. Always reach out to us if you have any questions. Please do. We want to thank those that are not Brooks and Davis agents that are kind of taking a look at us, that saw the session, and even if you all want to respond, you want to say something, you can put the comments in YouTube. I mean, in YouTube you can do that, or you can email me or text me directly. You can call the office or hit me on social media and just let me know, your comments about the program, maybe the information that you learned. And we really appreciate that, because we work really hard to make sure we're putting out a product that people find of value. Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna cut our music back on and we are going to bob our head up out of this thing. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Hold on, we got to start over. All right, let's bob. There we go. Ah, yeah. We got another one in the books. Create your new life real estate session. Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. You guys have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. God willing, we'll be talking to you next week. Hello.